Hello and welcome to Dialogue. I'm Yang Rui in Beijing. Yesterday, Obama wrapped up a 5-day African tour of Ethiopia and Kenya, his ancestral homeland. Although his visit touched on critical issues including anti-terrorism efforts in the region and an announcement of more than $1 billion in funding for African startup companies, the biggest headlines were reserved for his final speech, in which he lambasted African leaders for refusing to leave office and for continued corruption. What were Obama's intentions in delivering these critical comments? What is Obama's African legacy, and how has China shaped that agenda? To discuss these issues, we are happy to be joined in the studio today by Lawrence Brown, author of Fusion Economics, and Professor Clifford Kurokoff of the Virginia Military Institute. We shall also cross over to CCTV correspondent Robert Nagila in Nairobi. But first, let's look at this background.
A homecoming to the land of his father. Obama was met with a rapturous response on his first presidential trip to the home of his ancestors. In the final stages of his term in office, the president is putting a focus on Africa. As part of this, the U.S. leader is intent on building strong security ties with Kenya, with gestures of solidarity from across the Atlantic.
Our announcement today involves additional funding, additional assistance that we're providing the Kenyan security forces to deal with these very specific counterterrorism threats, as well as additional training and assistance to make sure that the approach that's taken in rooting out potential terrorist threats don't create more problems than they're solving.
Kenya has long been a major target for militant group Al-Shabaab, having suffered several high-profile attacks in recent years. Other terror groups like Boko Haram and the ongoing South Sudan civil conflict have also made for a challenging security situation on the African continent. But along with compliments and cooperation, Obama also urged Kenya to do better on women's rights, gay rights, and corruption. Obama also made a major speech to the assembled leaders of the African Union, another first for a U.S. president, and a clear push to shore up American influence in what is becoming an increasingly important region.
This is the cradle of humanity. And ancient African kingdoms were home to great libraries and universities. But the evil of slavery took root, not only abroad, but here on the continent. Colonialism